Hi friends. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about. So today in Austin it is ice raining, it is freezing cold, the roads are covered in ice, so yeah, I didn't go to work today. Which is nice. Just been chilling at home. I've got my cup of tea. I've got my blankets. I've got my hot water bottle. And I've got my, not one, but two IKEA sharks. And I thought that maybe now is a better time than any to just tell you what's been going on with my life. Because let me tell you, it has been a lot. So, where do we start? You might remember that at the start of last year I was getting tested for thyroid cancer. I had 2 lumps appear on my thyroid and I was just having a bad time with them. You know, I called my doctor, I was like, hey, I've got some lumps on my throat, and she's like, oh well, come in, let's take a look at them. And she gives them a little poke and she's like, well, they don't feel too bad, but I do think you should get an ultrasound. So I got an ultrasound and they said, well, they don't look too bad, but we still think that you should get the biopsy. So I got the biopsy and the results came back inconclusive. So all in all, no answers to any of that really. So what happened next? They said, okay, well, we're gonna wait 8 months and later this year we are going to test you again. So sure enough, 8 months later, still got lumps on my neck. I was trying a different dose of levothyroxine. That wasn't really doing anything to help. So I go back to see my doctor, and this is a new dude. He gives him a little poke and he's like, yeah, I mean, they're not too bad, but I'm gonna send you for an ultrasound. So I go for my ultrasound and they're like, okay, well, they have grown. They had got bigger. And they said, you know, we want to make sure that you're okay, so we're going to send you to a specialist. So I go and see the ENT. But mind you, this is America, it costs a fortune. So I go and see the ENT and he's a lovely dude. It's tea time. Ooh, ha. So we go and see the ENT. He takes a look at my ultrasound, he gives them a little poke and he's like, I'm pretty sure that they're not that bad. Heard that one before. But I do think that I want to do a biopsy. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the video that I did after my previous biopsy, but I hated that experience. It was one of the worst things that has ever happened to me. So naturally I freak out. I'm like, wait, you're gonna do it now? I can't be on my own. You know, last time it was incredibly painful and I did pass out. And the doctor just looked at me with this bewildered look on his face and he says, that's weird. The anesthesia might hurt a little bit, but after that you won't feel much at all. What is going on? So he just decides, well, we're going to do the biopsy now. And I kind of think, well, might as well just get it over with. I'm panicking, I'm freaking out, but I'm like, okay, be a big brave girl. I just let him get on with his job. He does the anesthesia in my neck, which is unpleasant, but not the worst thing in the world. And he's like, okay, so that's the worst bit. And the next bit, you probably won't feel much at all. And I was like, yeah, right. So he does the biopsy and he was right. I barely felt it. And that kind of made me wonder, why did the other guy brutalize me so badly? He was like sticking needles all in my neck and I felt like I was having liposuction in my neck. It was terrible. And this guy is just like, boop. And I barely felt it. So yeah, the biopsy was done. I went to work that same day and waited for the results. And I was thinking, hopefully it doesn't take long. Last time it took, I think, 3 days for the results to show up. But this time I was waiting and waiting and waiting for what felt like an eternity. And I started to get it in my head, like, why is it taking so long? Is it because the results are more complicated than last time? Turns out that yes, they were. So 2 weeks, I think just over 2 weeks after I had my biopsy, I get a phone call from my doctor, and I'm at work. And he says to me, okay, so we have the results back from your biopsy, and unfortunately, we have found cancerous cells in them. And it turns out that no matter how hard you prepare yourself to hear that, it still hits in a way that I can't quite explain. So I kind of sit down and feel like my insides are going to explode into my outsides. And I'm like, just breathe. And I was like, okay, I have a lot of questions. And he's like, yeah, of course you do. Go ahead. So I said, what happens now? And he says that he wants to remove the whole thyroid because not just the nodule that he biopsied that turned out to be cancerous, there's another nodule on the other side. He's like, the thing is a mess. We're not going to take out part of it, we're just going to take the whole thing out. So I'm like, yeah, that is probably for the best. I'm sick of dealing with this thyroid. Just get rid of it. I don't mind. Take it out. Take it out now. And he said, I understand that this might be a little overwhelming, but you can choose to get this over with as soon as possible, or if you're not ready, we can wait a little bit, because thyroid cancer is an odd kind of thing. It doesn't really spread very quickly. It develops very slowly, which is why there was no rush to get it diagnosed. So it's like, if you want to wait until a little bit later, this was around Christmas time. So you want to wait a little bit later into next year, then that's fine. We can do it when you're ready. And naturally I said, no, let's just get on with it, because I was sick of it. I was sick of all of it. And just ready to have it over with. So he said, okay, great. I would like to see you tomorrow in person so that we can talk this all out and I can answer any questions that you have. And then we're just gonna get you booked in for your surgery, probably sometime in January. I want you to remember that I was still at work when I got this phone call. Which is awkward. It's very awkward to be sat at work and find out that you've got thyroid cancer. So naturally, like, after we hung up, it was like I forgot how to function as a human being. And I just kind of sat there and stared at the wall. And I was thinking, what do I do now? Do I just leave? Do I just walk out? Are they going to understand? Do I need to tell somebody that this is happening? I need to have tomorrow off, so I should probably tell someone. I should probably tell my supervisor. Where's my supervisor? I'll tell my boss. Boss, no, what have you seen? So I just sit there for a bit longer, not doing any work, just sitting there, digesting. And then I think, okay, I'm just gonna have to I'm gonna call my partner. So I go outside, I make a phone call, I'm like, honey, I just got the phone call, I have cancer. And he's like, oh, that's fun. And I cried a little bit, and we just chatted about it. And then he said, okay, well, you need to go and tell someone, and then take yourself home. So I did that. Walk back into the warehouse, walk all the way to the other end of the warehouse and find my supervisor. And I'm a very awkward person. You know that thing that awkward people do with their bosses where they go, "Hey, so it's only me. I've just come to have a little talk." That's me. So I'm all prepped to go over there and I'm like, "Hey, so I'm just gonna be a little bit awkward right now." And then tears because I don't talk about feelings. I'm not good at it. And I'm like, I need to go home. I've just found out that I have cancer. I'm gonna go. I'll text you. And then my boss comes around the corner and sees me with tears down my face, like laughing a little bit awkwardly. And he's like, "Everything okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, got cancer. Gotta go." And he's like, "Yeah, no problem. Call me or something." So I scoot away, I sit in my car, stare outside the window for a bit, drive myself home, have a little cry at home. And then Coda comes back from work and he gives me a hug and we just chill. We have quite a lot to cover. So I'm gonna tell you right now a little bit about thyroid cancer. So I had a very useless thyroid. It didn't do its job properly. I've had hypothyroidism since I was a teenager. My mum had it, my aunt had it, my grandma had it. It was just very dysfunctional. This thing did not work properly. I don't know how much you guys know about thyroids, but they are responsible for more than you realize. They provide hormones that you need, and they regulate hormones that you need. So the thing with thyroid cancer is that it doesn't go anywhere very fast. The thyroid is like an island. It's not so much attached to all your other organs, it's just on its own. So therefore it doesn't quickly spread anywhere. So with a lot of cancers, you might find that it goes into your blood, it goes into your bones, it goes into your other organs, but this one, it stays put. It can move into your lymph nodes, and then you can get cancer of the lymph nodes, but that happens very slowly. So with your thyroid, there's no like huge rush to get things done. You just you have to just keep a close eye on it and wait for things to happen, which is what I did. I'm sorry, my voice is a little hoarse for obvious reasons. I'm doing my best, okay? Just bear with me. The funny thing about thyroid cancer is that the amount of people that will say these exact words: "If you wanted to have cancer, then you want thyroid cancer." And that's kind of a weird thing to say. But they're right. Thyroid cancer is easy to deal with. It's not like other cancers. You remove it and you don't need chemo necessarily. They just take it out and then you move on with your life. So that was the plan. The plan was remove the cancer, no chemo, surgery, get it out, forget about it. Try and regulate those hormones, but otherwise, we're all good. Okay, so it's time to talk about the actual procedure, which was actually pretty cool. Where do I even start? So, this is gonna sound really stupid, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Do you ever feel like you just need a break? Like you need to not worry about things for a bit, you just need to sleep and eat and lay there and play video games for a bit? Well, that was kind of what happened. It was like a really sucky holiday. So there's a few things that they need to do before you have your surgery. I actually got booked in, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks after finding out, which is great. It was really nice to just get on with it. Yeah, they had to do a few tests. I had to go in, I think it was 2 or 3 days before my surgery, and they did a urine test for pregnancy, they did a blood test, and they did a COVID test. All came back fine. They gave me this little wristband that I wasn't allowed to take off, but it turns out that I could just slide it off and then slide it back on again. Whatever, you have to keep it because it's got the barcodes on with your information. Hi friends, just waiting for my pre-op appointment. I don't really know why I'm nervous, but I am. All they're gonna do is take my blood and make me pee in a cup, but I don't know, I just feel nervous. Everything is such a pain in the ass, like I just want to get it over with, but I'm trying to deal with like trying to get the time off work and trying to get my insurance sorted and trying to get the hospital to take my goddamn money, and nobody is actually being very helpful. Just gotta keep trying. So yeah, I'm gonna go let them steal my blood and my pee, and then 3 more days until the big day. So I'll probably talk to you then. Bye bye. And 2 days later, I was kind of chill. I was like, woosah, not too worried, it's all good. And then I wake up on that Friday morning, sick as hell, sick as anything. The nerves had, like, no matter how relaxed you try and make yourself, stress and nerves always cause problems regardless. I was like sick to my stomach. I was thinking, I don't want to do this. This is too much. I can't deal with it. I don't want to do it. But obviously, my brain was also like, of course I want to do it. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Get in the car. Pack your bag. We've got things to do. Come on. Time to go. So I think it was 8:30 in the morning. We've got my bags ready. Go get in the car. And we drive to the hospital. And then it's the big day. I have to give a little shout out to my absolute best friend who sent me this little banana man. He arrived like a day before my surgery, and he came with me and he chilled in my hospital room the whole time I was there. It just made me like laugh and smile every time I saw it, so that was pretty great. And I had my partner drive me to the hospital. Also have to give a massive shout out to him because he has been my rock through all of this. He's done everything for me. He's been right by my side every time I've needed him. He's helped me to rationalize everything. He's just looked after me and he's been an angel. So you get 2 thumbs up as well. So he takes me to the hospital. We sit in the reception and just wait for them to call my name. Go into a little meeting room and the nice lady just has a chat with us. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. She takes all my details, we fill in a form, and then another nurse comes to get us and escorts us to my first room. I don't know what this room is called. It's a room with a bed and it has one of those smock things that you have to put on. She said, go, put this on, we'll be back in like 10 minutes. So I put my weird smock on, I put my grippy socks on, I put everything in a bag to be put in the locker, and then I lay down on this hospital bed thing, and the nurse comes in. And she asks all the same questions that I've already been asked, and she takes my blood pressure, and then she goes away, and then another nurse comes in and she asks all the same questions again, and she hooks me up to my IV. I never had an IV before, so kind of freaking out about that. They put it in your hand and I was thinking like, I can't bend my hand. I didn't dare do anything with the IV in, but it turns out it's like a silicone-y type of thing and it just bends around. After I got the hang of it, I was just like, it was fine. So they hooked me up to the big beepy monitor thing. I don't know anything about that stuff. I've watched every episode of House, but I don't know anything medical. My voice is so tired. And the nurse goes away and comes back a few times, and a few different faces come in just to make sure that I'm all comfortable and I've got everything I need. They take my things away to put in the locker. And then the anesthesia man comes in. The anesthesia man! And he explains to me that he's going to give me a fun cocktail. And I was like, great, love cocktails, gonna be a good time. And we were just joking around. He was trying to make me feel comfortable, really nice. And then he says, okay, so as well as the cocktails, we're gonna give you a little mini dose of something called ketamine. Have you heard of ketamine? And I'm like, no. Me? I've never heard of any drug. So I'm on cocktails, I'm on ketamine, they hook me up, and he goes, okay, so I'm gonna do that now, and all of a sudden my whole body just goes, whoo, and I dissolve into the hospital bed. Now, I've never done ketamine before, but that little micro dose he gave me, pretty nice, made me pretty chill. It kind of felt like, you know, that state that you're in before you wake up properly, and you're like half asleep but conscious. You guys know what I mean. So I'm just kind of laying there, all chill, and Coda gets sent away. I barely even realized that he got sent away. I was just like, and they wheeled me into the surgery room. They wheeled me into. I'm sorry, still super croaky. Whew. They wheel me into the surgery room. And they're talking to me. I do not remember any of this. I vaguely remember what the room looked like, but I was high as a kite. And I was kind of expecting to have this memory of someone counting down. Never got that. We were having a little conversation, and then we weren't. And now my cat wants to come in. One sec. Come on. Come here, my little nobody. Hello. Is that you? Is that a pretty girl? Is that a pretty girl? Yes it is, it's Manuli. Okay, so where are we? So next thing I know, I'm half asleep. Not half asleep falling asleep, half asleep waking up. And I hear a voice say, you just come out of surgery. Well, something along these lines, I barely remember. You've just come out of surgery, you're all okay, I'm just gonna take your blood pressure. I can feel someone taking my blood pressure, but I am out of it, completely out of it. And they keep doing it, they keep trying to speak to me, they keep trying to wake me up, nothing. And I remember hearing another nurse being like, I'm just gonna, I think she took my blood, I don't know. And another nurse said to her, she's not going to respond. She's completely out of it. I was like, I remember someone saying that, and I was fast asleep. I was gone. Okay, so they put me in the room that I'm going to be staying in, and I'm just kind of laying there, semi-conscious, going in and out of sleep. And eventually someone comes in to talk to me. I think this was about 2 hours later, and I just woke up. And they checked all my vitals, checked that I was doing okay, checked my blood pressure, took my blood. They just take it out of your IV. And I slowly started to come round, and so when I woke up, it was all pretty chill. The only thing that I didn't like was I had a pipe coming out of my neck and it had like a little blood bag, and that was the drain. It was just draining excess blood from my neck. Hated that thing, hated it. And I had a bandage on my neck, and I had I was hooked up on this side and I was hooked up on this side. And yeah, the nurse came in, she turned my TV on for me, I watched some renovation shows. She bought me a menu to order some food. And I ordered some salmon and some mashed potatoes. Got the nurse to call Coda, and he comes back and just to chill with me for a little bit. Give me hugs, make sure I've got everything I need. Now, I kind of had this plan, right? Where I was gonna play a lot on my Switch, and I was gonna read some books. No. I did not. I basically lie there almost comatose, watching reality TV and falling asleep. I fell asleep every other hour, I think. And every time a nurse would come into my room and be like, "Are you asleep again?" I'm like, "No, leave me alone." I just want to sleep. And they keep coming in just to take my vitals, make sure everything's normal and fine, which it was. Kept waking me up. Someone bought me pudding and I was like, I'm really hungry. I need some food. They bring me some salmon and some mashed potato, and I demolished that meal because I had not eaten for almost I hadn't eaten all day, obviously, because of the surgery. I'm kind of chilling. I was actually really worried that I wasn't going to be able to sleep through the night. I thought, I'm going to be up for the entire night and I'm not going to know what to do with myself. Didn't need to worry. Slept all through the night. Well, slept all through the night until 4 a.m. when the night staff came in to check on me. I swear, every time a nurse came in, they had to wake me up. I was asleep every single time. I'm a sleepy person. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh, you're so funny. Oh, you're so funny. Oh, spilled my tea. Coda didn't stay through the night. I told him, you are gonna be bored as hell. I'm gonna be sleeping. I'm completely fine and safe, go home, chill out, play some video games, because I know that this was stressful on him as well. It's like, just go home, be with the cat, just woosa, and you can come back in the morning, and then we can leave together. So the morning rolls around. Mad Max Fury Road was on the TV. I'm going to be honest with you. The first time I saw Mad Max Fury Road was in the cinema, and it was probably my favourite cinema experience ever. It blew me away. Watching it on that tiny little TV at the end of the room was not really the same, but I still enjoyed it. And eventually the doctor came to take my drain out. They unhooked everything, and I think if I remember right, it was about 10 o'clock the next day. I'd been there for about 28 hours, something like that. And they sent me home. Oh, one thing that I didn't cover, one thing that really surprised me, is I've never had anesthesia before. And a little while after I woke up, all of my limbs felt like they had pins and needles. I could not get comfortable. I couldn't make them stop. Just pins and needles everywhere, completely numb. And I asked the nurse, I was like, is it normal? She's like, yes, it's the anesthesia. And then once that started to wear off, oh my God, every muscle in my body hurt. It was like I had climbed a mountain. Anesthesia is great, but it does a number on your body. I was so weak, everything hurt. I couldn't roll over. I was in so much pain. I had to make the bed come up, the automatic bed thing, and then kind of awkwardly scooch myself around and then put it back down. It was incredibly pathetic. But I was all done. I went home, and that night I remember in the middle of the night, I got out of bed to turn around and get back into bed again because I was in so much pain. The actual incision look, I can show you. There it is. Cool, right? I feel like a badass. This feels like my battle scar. So yeah, this here has never really hurt that much. Been a little sensitive, couldn't do a huge amount of talking because my voice was quite hoarse. It still is, it's still recovering. And yeah, apart from the muscle aches, I was pretty good. I slept a lot. I did get quite sick off the antibiotics, which that happens to me every time I have antibiotics. It was no big surprise. Yeah, apart from that, it was fairly easy. And I'm going to be honest with you, once I stopped sleeping multiple times a day, I realized how much better I felt in general. because I didn't realize how bad I was feeling before. It becomes so normal to feel bad every day that you don't really remember what it's like to not feel bad every day. So one thing that I used to complain about a lot was that I could barely get through a sentence. I would say a few words. I still do this. I would say a few words and then I'd have a big pause and then I'd finish the sentence. I felt like my brain was full of clouds, like I couldn't have a thought. I would walk into rooms and forget what happened. I didn't know what like when I went to work, I would forget how to do my job. I would forget my password to log in. It was incredibly frustrating. And I would say all the time, like, I need to lie down, my head feels heavy. It actually felt thick, like it was full of clouds or something. And I would have to lie down a lot. Also, I would get a lot of headaches. I would get headaches in my jaw, it would be in my neck, my ears hurt, my sinuses hurt. It's got so much better since it's gone. So I was also getting chest pains and like heart palpitations. I just thought I was old and unhealthy. So yeah, now that I don't have a thyroid, it's like every aspect of my life is improving. I've also been told that I'm more cheerful than I was before. You know, my moods aren't quite as bad as they were. Okay, so let's talk about today. How am I feeling now? It's been a month, a bit under a month since I had my surgery, and I'm feeling pretty optimistic, feeling pretty positive in general. One thing that I am feeling is still very confused about what comes next, because I am living without an organ and I don't really understand that exactly. I did have a follow-up with my doctor and I did call him if I had any weird side effects, which it was just sickness from the antibiotics. Yeah, I feel like I need to book in with my doctor because I still have a lot of questions that I feel like aren't answered. You know, how do they know that it hasn't traveled anywhere? Because they said that they weren't going to do the, what's it called? Yeah, they said that they weren't going to do the radioiodine because they didn't feel like they needed to. And I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean you don't feel like you need to? Like, you said that you didn't think that I had cancer and it turns out that I did. So how are you so sure that I don't have it, that it's not gone somewhere else? Like, I need better answers than that. Also, I'm still on exactly the same dose of levothyroxine that I was before. And that's how much I was on when I had a thyroid. It probably needs readjusting now. I think I'm booked in to see a hormone specialist, but that's not for another month yet. And I don't know, I just feel like I need to see someone just to feel a little bit more comfortable with where I am now. Okay, so I'm gonna have to stop now because, as you can probably tell, my voice is getting very tired. They can't help but disturb the vocal cords a little bit, so you do find that you're a little bit hoarse afterwards. But everything went well, nothing got permanently damaged. I'm still taking some time to heal, taking some time to get better. Anything else, I think I took 2 weeks off work, 1.5, something like that. Just time for my body to recover. Okay, so I guess that I'm gonna have to call it here because I don't think I could talk much longer. But yeah, it all happened really quick and it feels like I haven't even really processed it yet. I'm just gonna tell you, like, my personal worst part of this. I feel like the surgery was easy. I feel like the recovery was easy. The things that I struggled with the most was insurance, which was incredibly stressful, and I couldn't seem to get a hold of it. the insurance was telling me I needed to talk to my HR department. HR was telling me that I needed to talk to insurance. Insurance wouldn't pick up the phone, and they kept putting me through to other people, and it was just so difficult to get any answers. You don't want to think about that stuff when you're having a procedure done. The other hardest part is telling people. I'm gonna be honest, a big part of me was like, maybe nobody needs to know. You know, I'm not very good at communication, and I didn't want to tell anyone. I feel so awkward. I don't want to have to answer everyone's questions. I was like, is anyone gonna know? It's not that big a deal. It's not like it's a different kind of cancer, you know. And then I had to like take a proper look at myself and go, don't be stupid. Your family needs to know this. So I tell my brothers, and then I tell my parents, and everyone's very supportive, and everyone has a million questions, obviously. Oh, I never turned this thing on. Whoa. Just realised that I never turned my ring light on. Does this look better or does this look worse? I feel like I should have had this on the whole time. Anyway, thank you for listening to me ramble on. I am sorry that this hasn't been very concise. I'm sorry that it's been kind of a mess. You know, I don't have a script. I didn't have a plan. I was just gonna sit down and talk, which is what I did. If you do have any questions, write me a comment. I will answer, providing I haven't been locked out of my account by myself because I forgot my password. If I don't respond, that's the reason. Other than that, please give me a little thumbs up. It doesn't help my channel because my channel is very tiny and just for myself, but it makes me feel good about myself. So thumbs up, please. Subscribe if you haven't already. That also makes me feel good about myself. And I will try and upload again soon, no promises. But I feel more motivated than I did before. And I want to make some videos for you and for me. So hopefully I will see you soon. Goodbye guys. Bye bye.